our only way of knowing what's going on outside of us is through what we pick up through our five senses. Right. So I know reality based on what I see, smell, taste, touch, and hear. I always joke, six senses if you want to get metaphysical and include the third eye, but we'll stick to like physical reality for the moment. So information comes in, and it's estimated that we're exposed to around 20 million bits of information every single second. But our human neurology can process around 134. I've heard these numbers move around depending on how someone, what they define a bit as, but we know that a lot of information is coming into us every single second, and our neurology can only process a fraction of it at a time. And what determines what gets through are what are called neurological filters. So in psychology, the process is called distort, delete, and generalize. So some information gets generalized out, some information gets distorted to fit our internal bias and narrative, and some gets deleted completely because it's not important to us. This is why eyewitness accounts aren't very effective, because everyone experiences differently. So the information comes in, it gets filtered, and those filters are made up of things like our memories, our past beliefs, decisions that we've made. I call it your dramas and traumas, all of who you are, all of who you've been, all of that's been handed down to you, colors how you experience every given moment. So the information comes in and gets filtered. Based on that filtered information, that creates the stories in our head, the little pictures and movies and sound bites and the things we tell ourselves, that voice, that nattering voice. That's what that first step is. Based on what we're picturing in our head and telling ourselves, that then creates an emotional feeling, which then causes our body to respond biochemically. So the example I like to use is, let's say you're out somewhere and you see a bear, and it goes through a filter of, uh-oh, I'm gonna die because it's a bear. Because I live in Ontario, and if I see a bear, I'm like, nope. So based on that information, well, now I'm probably going to be imagining myself being mauled to death by a bear. I'm going to feel panic and terror. My body's going to go into fight or flight. It's going to release adrenaline, cortisol, things to get my body in fight or flight. But if I'm out somewhere and I see a bear, and instead it goes to a filter of, wow, what a cool creature. I should take a picture of this. How exciting. Well, now based on that 134 bits, I'm probably going to be imagining myself like sharing a photo on Facebook. I'm going to be feeling kind of excited. My body's going to release different neurotransmitters, different hormones and chemicals. But the thing is, it's the same bear. The only thing that's changed is the filter through which I'm experiencing it. So the information comes in, it gets filtered, that gets our thoughts, our emotions, our body does its thing. Based on all that information, we come up with a strategy. Either run away, in my case, probably poop my pants, take a picture, right? And then that leads to some sort of behavior. Most of us, when we are attempting to heal, we work with strategies. So, and if you've ever done cognitive behavioral therapy, it's strategies. You go in there and you say to your therapist, I have this problem. And they say, okay, cool, let's do something different. I'm going to have you read some books on bears. Let's go to the zoo and look at some bears from a distance. Let's talk about why you are afraid of bears. Let's get you a teddy bear. And the good news is that when you do these strategies, you get a new behavior. And then the therapist is like, done and done. Problem is, now you have two voices in your head. One saying, it's okay, it's just a bear. He's more afraid of me than I am of him. And one going, oh my God, you're going to die, while still imagining yourself being mauled to death, feeling panic and terror, and your body is legit in fight or flight. And the theory is, and it's 100% true, that if you do these strategies over and over and over and over and over again, eventually you will cause a biochemical shift in your body. And as you create that biochemical shift, eventually you'll have a different emotional sensation, which will then cause you to picture different things in your head. And over time, you can shift that filter from bears equals death to bears equals kind of cool. And it takes a long, long time. They've done studies that the last study I read, it takes 66 days in a row before you can reprogram one of those filters. So for 66 days, you have to basically lie to yourself, which breaks all trust with yourself. What I do, and when I'm working with the clients, is in that first session, I talk to them about this process and I help them identify the filters that they're running. Because if there's 20 million bits coming at you every single second, that means you have 20 million opportunities to experience the world differently. If you don't like the ones that you're working with, we can change that by working with the filters. And so I ease people into the process by talking to them about how the neurology works, why they haven't gotten where they wanted to, because they're fighting it, right? You're trying to shove new behaviors on top of an old shaky foundation. You're trying to tell yourself that bears are safe while in your heart of hearts believing that you're going to die. And so it's kind of like running up an escalator that goes down. You can totally do it, but you're going to run really hard. And if you take a break for even a second, you're back down at the bottom. And so a lot of times just knowing that there's nothing inherently broken about someone, there's nothing inherently wrong about it. The reason they haven't gotten the result is because they're working the system backwards.
Mhm.
If we could identify the filters that are running, the beliefs, the decisions that people are running at the unconscious level, all I have to do is go in and move them out of the way. And then they experience those same 20 million bits of information, but they'll experience it completely differently. And so that's how I ease people into it. And I use the main tool I use is neuro linguistic programming, which is the most unmarketable name in the history of names. Like it's horrible. But basically it means that so neuro refers to your neurology. Linguistic means that the story that you tell yourself and that you
Mhm.
attach to your experience matters. And then programming that your behavior is a result of the story you tell yourself about reality versus reality itself. And so, using specific questions, using specific linguistic patterns, I help unravel the filters and unravel the story so that new choices flow in.